Welcome, 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 welcome everybody here back to The Missing Link. Today we're excited to talk with Nicholas Schizzano and Crystal Cavalier about themselves, about their astrology, about their journey, and just get to know them a little bit better. So how are you both doing today?
Doing really well, thank you.
Yeah, doing good.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you maybe start off telling us about yourself, telling us a little bit about your journey, about where you maybe grew up, a little bit of your background, education, what got you into astrology, anything that you want, the audience to know about your guys' selves, to get them to know a little bit about you in case they're hearing you here for the first time. And maybe we can start with Crystal.
Yeah. So I'm Crystal Cavalier. I was born and raised in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. It's a smallish town in like northern Minnesota. So I was born on a farm, so I had that opportunity to be like out in the nature a lot, which at the time I wished that I could be like in town with all my friends, but now I look back and I appreciate it. I appreciate how the opportunity that I had when I was a child. As far as like astrology goes, I've always been interested in it, but I had other priorities, like as a teen and in my 20s. And it wasn't until I was in my mid-30s that I started studying it deeper. Before that, like my main thing is that I'm a musician. And so now I incorporate that into the stars and like astrology and stuff. So yeah, it's a little bit about me. What about you?
My name's Nick Schizzano, and I'm actually from the same town as her, Fergus Falls, Minnesota. And I've actually been into astrology my whole life. Not as deeply as I got into it in about 2013 when I discovered Mr. Astrotheology's YouTube channel. But before that, I did always want to know my friends' signs. And my mom was a triple Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Mercury, and that's the sign of astrology. So she got me an astrology book. I think is the only astrology book you will ever need is the name of it. Yeah, she got me that, and it kind of sat around the house for a while. But it's been present in my life, my whole life. Not extremely significantly, but yeah. And then recently I started watching Santos Bonacci's channel. Well, starting 2013, and that's pretty much where I learned everything, including the medical astrology. I think he teaches the best medical astrology because I don't see any people out there syncretizing the biological systems to each sign and the tissue salts. I see a lot of just random, seemingly pretty random angles and stuff. So yeah, I learned a lot of that, and my focus is medical astrology because I have a lot of medical indications in my chart. Sun and Moon in the 6th house. That's a person that has a lot to do with health routines. So yeah, that's about a good summarization.
Well, I guess I'm going to ask the question that maybe everybody's wanting to know. Was that the only book the only astrology book that you ever read?
No, so when I got into Santos's work, he's got on his website, he has a book reading list. The website is universaltruthschool.com, and there's a book list on there. There's about 10 books on there. They're all very old books, hundreds and hundreds of years. Claudius Ptolemy, his book is 2,000 years old. He's an Egyptian astrologer. And then Guido Bonatti, he's an Italian astrologer from, I think, 800 years ago. And William Lilly, he's about from 800 years ago. And there's about 10 books that I read from his list there. So Yeah.
So what is medical astrology?
So the frequency of the stars sort of project a hologram down to us and animate our holographic bodies. And depending what frequency they're at, will come down, and your animation will be weak in some areas if there's like, you know, a shadow or a wrong tone coming down. There's sort of a light sound frequency creating this animation. So you can just go up to the source, to the beginning, and read, you know, if there's Mars on Saturn in Cancer. Well, Cancer is the breasts, and Mars is a malefic, and Saturn is a malefic, and they're both in detriment in Cancer. So if you were born with that, then your breasts and lymphatic system will be negatively affected. They'll be affected with excess dryness from Mars and excess dryness from Saturn. So your lymphatic system will dry up.
And the lymphatic system is moist because it's ruled by the moon, and the moon is watery.
Well, so you can tell different people's medical, you know, abilities or different things about them through when they were born.
Yeah. So you want to look at their natal chart for the first breath, because that first breath sets the tempo. It's wherever the sine wave starts, wherever the song starts, it sets the tempo for the rest of your life. So somehow, I'm not exactly 100% sure, but yeah, the first breath, wherever the stars are at, that shows your whole life and your body, how you look, what you do, your habits, mannerisms, etc.
So if a person was born, say, premature, like a month or 2 months, does that mean whatever time that was, they were meant to come out at that time, so the stars aligned for them at that time? Or maybe like a week or 2 weeks after their due date, you know, just because they need to have that right alignment with the stars and their purpose here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that must be the case. Yeah,
it's
whatever destiny.
whenever their first breath is. And the way I understand it is, you know, we plan what it is we want to do here.
Contract.
The contract, the experiences that we want to go through. And in order for us to experience those particular moments, we must be born at a particular time. And each one different. That's why we're all so different.
Sharon says, I love the work of Santos Bonacci has put out. I've learned a lot and continue to do so. We've had Santos here on The Missing Link. When he came on, he actually double booked, and he was supposed to be on with somebody else. And then I told him it's a live thing. He's like, I've already had to cancel on them before, but since ours was a live thing, he came on. And the first, like, when I seen him, he had his head in his hand like this, and he was just so like frustrated. And the first probably, I don't know, half an hour of the interview, you know, he just wasn't there. But then he started to warm up, and then we got into the conversation and stuff. But you could see he was already like really flustered about the whole situation about double booking. So it was a pretty interesting interview. I'm not sure if you've been able to check that out yet.
Yeah, I don't think we did. Yeah.
He's taking a break now from interviews. Just too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Yeah, I talked to him just before our 400th interview, and I wanted him back because some people said you should get Santos. So I was chatted with him, and he's like, yeah, I'm, you know, taking a break right now. And he's like, you should get, you know, I said, well, who do you recommend? And he said Jason Brichers. So I'm not sure if you from Archaic. So we had him back on for, I think, the second or third time for our 400th interview, you know, which we we had, I believe, in January.
Okay.
You know, in December or January or whatever. But he was the one who suggested to bring Jason on,
Yeah.
so we did.
Yeah, when before he exploded, before Jason's channel exploded, we had him on the Syncretism Society podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I was co-hosting. I think that was the first time I was co-hosting with Santos, so that was kind of neat.
That's great. So, Nicholas, you were ill. You had something happen to you. I just know something. Not sure what it was. Maybe you can tell us what happened and how you're feeling now.
Yeah, well, I feel good now. You know, I think it was something to do, a great deal to do with the altitude up here. We're 7,400 or 500 feet off the ground.
Sea level.
Off sea level. I'm only 2 feet off the ground. And the air's so low, and my Mercury in my birth chart is in detriment in Sagittarius, so I don't breathe much as it is, unfortunately. If I'm real conscious for a long period of time, I can get my breathing back, but if I fall out of it, man, I just freaking hold my breath.
Yeah.
And then I got South Node in the third house, and the third house is the respiratory system, and Mercury is the respiratory system. So I have both of those debilitated. And then 2 days ago, Mercury in the sky was conjunct Chiron, and Mercury is the breath, so and Chiron is the wounder. So I think everyone's breath and mind was a little bit affected. And I went to bed, and I think I held my breath all night. I had to, because I woke up, and as soon as I woke up, I was like, I think I'm having a stroke. Just kind of entertaining the thought. Because I jumped out of bed, and I went and got some water, and I was walking around, and it felt real funny, my arms. Like I was taking a drink, and it was like I was taking a drink, but it wasn't my hand or something. It was like it's like this arm was so weird. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm having a stroke. That's the second time. And then my fingers tips started tingling. And whoa, they say half your body tingles when you're having a stroke. And then got worse. And then it went up to here, the tingling. And then I ran upstairs and I told Santos, because we live below Santos, it's like, I'm having a stroke. It's because I wanted to get his Iteracare wands, because he's got like 5 of them up there. So I just started grabbing them and plugging them in. And then they each grabbed a wand.
Just wanding him, and he was like sitting there, and he couldn't talk. Like, he was trying to say things, but it didn't make any sense. Like,
where's my phone? Where's no home?
Yeah. So it was
like,
kind of freaky.
Because I can't speak.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I think I'm having a 12 stroke. I couldn't say it.
And this lasted for like 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. But it wasn't like so it would like be really bad, and then it would be like kind of better. So it was like a wave.
Yeah.
Were you hydrated?
Yeah. Well, so the Iteracare wands actually neutralized it right away. So I went downstairs and I was gonna go sit on our Tesla coil. I was just gonna sit on it all day to make sure. So I left his 2 Iteracare wands that they were wanding me, and I went downstairs and I turned my 1 wand on and sat on the coil. But then it got way worse. Then it switched from my right side of my body to my whole left. And it was like my whole left was tingling. It's just like when your arm falls asleep. It was like that, but it was like the whole left side of my body. It was just no oxygen and blood flow because my red blood cells clumped together. I'm pretty sure this is exactly what happened. I'm definitely not an expert on strokes, but I mean, maybe I am because I just had one.
A mini one.
Yeah, mini stroke. Because I curbed it with all of our things. I was feeding
him cayenne and and ginger shots
Yeah. Yes.
and MMS.
MMS, pure oxygen. Yeah, Terhertz ones help with everything. Tesla coil, it's this coil that plugs into the earth and it just grounds you like 1,000 times faster than just standing on the ground. So I did that. And then I made a post because I have a lot of friends that are in the health community, so I knew they'd be on it right away. And they were, and they helped a lot. They said ginger shots, cayenne shots. She made me like 10 cayenne shots with like a spoonful of cayenne, because that helps with the red blood cells too. Stops them from clumping, so you can get oxygen and blood flow. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're in Mexico then?
Yeah, we're in Mexico, so that's and we're don't normally go to the hospital anyways. Like I didn't even go to the hospital when I had my 3 children. And
I mean, I was considering it, but I was about to pass out just thinking about figuring out how to do that.
yeah, I feel like it would have added more stress and accentuated the symptoms.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. At any point, did you think that, hey, like maybe we should get like a medical professional to diagnose, or at least to, kind of let us know what they think is going on?
Crossed our minds, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I was considering it, but I didn't want to leave all my things like the cayenne shots because those were helping so much. It might have taken like 2-3 hours to get to the hospital. I don't know where it is. We don't have a car. The guy that helps us. It was Sunday, so he was busy. So it was really a bad time, And but I was definitely considering. But my brain would just like freeze every time. Like hospital, where? Where is? I don't even know where it is. And we're out of town. It could have got real bad by the time we got to the hospital.
Yeah.
Wowzers. So how long have you been living there in Mexico?
On and off for 2 years, but in the mountains just 2 months at the high elevation.
Okay, so you guys are up in the high elevation inside of Mexico. Wow.
Yeah.
I used to live in Mexico about 25 years ago. I lived in Cancun for a while. I was in Mexico City for a while, and I was in a little town called San Miguel for a while.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard that's beautiful.
That's pretty high up there too, isn't it? How is your health up there?
My health is fine. I, grew up in Canada, in Calgary, Alberta, and it's very high elevation here. We're right next to the Rocky Mountains, so we're just we're just above Montana. So I don't know if to know. And you said you're Central Standard Time, but you're the same time zone as us, and we're Mountain Standard Time. So
yeah, we don't time. There's no time change here.
Oh, maybe
so I don't know how it works. I've been trying to figure that out.
Yeah, maybe that's what the difference is. But it's good to know for us being able to book, anybody. So, and are you enjoying living in Mexico, or what's this besides obviously this little bit of health scare? Well, what's that? What's it like, now? Because that was a long time ago when I was there.
Well, what I really like is that we can get a fridge full of greens for like $15-20 and just juice
delivered too.
Yeah.
That's organic farm. Yeah. Way out too in the mountains.
Yeah. And we don't really go anywhere. So it's kind of like when we do go out, it can be kind of intense sometimes. But yeah, overall it's pretty good. I like it much better here than in Puerto Morelos. It was too hot and humid. Here it's like a perfect spring day every day.
I don't really like asking this, but someone said hope he wasn't jabbed. So
no.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah,
no,
that was a lot of people were wondering that. And that's another thing. I mean, we don't go out often, but I mean, maybe we're breathing it in. I don't know.
Yeah, or they're spraying the skies, or people are shedding. The shedding thing could be true, or it's laced in the food. I don't know. It could be everywhere. It could be a frequency weapon. I think it was just lack of air, honestly.
Nancy says, keep using the copper and your grounding techniques. It will help you heal you, but strokes are no joke. Please seek medical care if you can. And then Lori says, deep vein thrombosis is high altitude issues with. So that's the deep vein thrombosis is the blood clotting. So, I guess with high altitudes that's a possibility. What about parasites? You thought about doing a parasite cleanse?
We have been.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's another thing. That's one thing that's a downfall of Mexico is the water.
Mm.
And since moving here, we have had some. We don't drink like, just regular water, but we've had issues just with the digestion. Yeah.
Wowzer. So what's next?
What's next?
Yeah.
As far as like where we're gonna be or what?
Like the whole
Well,
life.
like taking care of him, like are you like you said you're kind of feeling better, but are you guys looking to possibly see somebody and get some tests done, or because that they said that it's kind of no joke to have a stroke.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely think about it. I didn't even know. I wonder what kind of tests they can even do. Apparently, there's something.
Hopefully not like invasive or having.
Yeah.
I think like one lady was saying she had an MRI and they like injected her with something and she's been messed up ever since.
I know. That's why I'm just like done with the hospital thing.
Yeah.
And then now the COVID thing.
Yeah, the blue dye MRI. They put the blue dye inside for them, and some people have reactions to it. I had that done on me maybe like 10 years ago, and I never, reacted to it at all. But
yeah, our friend.
What's that stuff called? Doesn't matter, but
I can't remember. I think it started with a G, but yeah, she had an issue with that.
Oh my God, I can't add another chemical to my body. I'm trying to get them all out.
Yeah, that's for sure. A lot of people sending you lots of healing and lots of love and energy and stuff. So, astrology, tell us more about it. What's like you guys got a website and a YouTube channel? What exactly do you guys do?
Yeah. So on our website, we offer lots of different astrology readings, anywhere from like the general reading where we look at your natal birth chart and just give you a general overview and answer any questions you may have. We do synastry where you put two charts together. It can be, maybe you and your partner or you and a child, even you and your business partner and
parents, siblings.
Parents, yeah, anybody, and just see different, like how you guys interact, if you have like issues and how you can work on them. We do this really neat one where we put your chart on the map of the world and see how you'll experience different energies in different areas. And we find that a lot of the time people are drawn to the areas that they'll have, let's say their north node, and north node is like your destiny. And they're like intuitively, they know that that's where they need to be or want to visit or whatever. So that one's neat. I also do the medical and crystal reading, which we like integrate into the medical because minerals and crystals and stones have frequency to them, and you can wear them or carry them to.
Like a Scorpio needs selenite because it has calcium sulfate in it. It's made out of pure calcium sulfate. Scorpios need that frequency, etc.
So I'm a Scorpio. I actually, I guess I'm a triple Scorpio or something like that. From what I heard, I never knew about astrology really. And then when I think I was like 18 or 19 years old, so this was quite a few years ago. I was kind of listening, hearing some people talk about it. So I got this book called Sun, Moon, and the Planet Stars. And it had everybody's sign really in depth. Like it was like a big book. And I ended up getting it from the library. And I started reading Scorpio and for my birth date. And I couldn't believe what I was reading. And it was like me to a T. And I was pretty kind of taken back that how some book could know all about me.
Yeah.
And I think there was only one thing that was kind of a little bit off, but everything else was me to a T. So I'm born on the Scorpio Libra cusp, the last day of the Scorpio Libra cusp. It's and so I guess I got Libra and Scorpio traits in me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're pretty well into Scorpio, 2 degrees, 50 seconds. So you're like 80% Scorpio, maybe 20% Libra. If it's about 0 degrees, you're like pretty much 50-50, 49-51. And once it gets towards 4 degrees into a sign, I think that's when you hit the point where you're about 99, 100% that sign. Yeah, and you're at 3.49 out of, oh, sorry,
Yeah.
2.49 out of, and it changes at 60. The 49 will change at 60, so almost 3 degrees.
Wowzers. So I'm heavy Scorpio. What did you say that's good selenite for Scorpios?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that will
And
help your
is
mood.
that
too.
is that the salt? Is that the salt crystal, the one that if you put it in water, it'll dissolve?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to wear it in the bath or shower or anything. Yeah, it's that kind of opaque white one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a friend that told me about that. She had this selenite and she had this water fountain and she had the crystal in front of the water fountain. And I guess the splashing of and all of a sudden she came and she said she didn't know where her crystal went, but I guess the water ended up going on it and splashing on it that had totally dissolved her
Yeah.
crystal.
Yeah, it does that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's the only stone that does not need to be cleansed, and it can cleanse other stones.
Yeah. So they make these like plates, like selenite plates.
Tray, plate,
Yeah. And
flats.
you can put your crystals on them and cleanse your other crystals.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So what are other ways, good ways for people to cleanse or recharge their crystals?
You can put them in salt water. You can put them in the light of the full moon.
You can sage them, or like any
Palo
like
Santo.
plant essential oil, like pine oil, Palo Santo. You could use the Iteracare wand, which I could bring that up because I think like everyone's getting to know these things. So you can charge it with that. There was one other thing I was thinking too, but yeah, that's basically it. You could probably put them like in a tree or something too.
Yeah.
What I used to do was put a bunch of crystals into a glass jar and of water, and then I put it into the moonlight, and then whenever it was the full moon, and then I would drink the water. I'd actually drink the water of the crystal water. That was just something that I did that for quite a few years. I haven't done that for a long time, but that's something that I used to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neat. Yeah, I love all these different occult, I guess you could call them, topics.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, I gave you guys my, information, and you kind of figured out who I am or what I'm about or what the stars tell you, and maybe you wanted to share a little bit about that information.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking at that too when you said you had put the crystals in the water and drink it. And then Aquarius pops out to me. That's kind of like the futurist. You're ahead of everyone. And you have Jupiter in Aquarius. So Jupiter is the way you teach and what you give and how you give. And it's in Aquarius. So you're kind of giving to humanity, like ideas. And, you could be doing stuff like that. And like generally Aquarius people are like ahead of everyone. You kind of are, it seems to me, ahead of people on things. Jupiter. And then you have Vertex in Aquarius, which is your second descendant. Not a lot of people know that. So yeah, guys, Vertex, it's an old mathematical calculation. I think it is from some of the old books. Well, it all is, isn't it? And yeah, it's the second ascendant, and it deals more with fate. And a lot of the times we can take a glance at people and see what their sun or ascendant sign is. But every once in a while we're wrong. And then we go back and we say, hey, maybe it was the vertex. And it was. Like I can tell a Scorpio rising or sun, they usually have a bird look to them. If they have a Scorpio vertex, you don't have much of a bird look to you for a double Scorpio. But I bet you there's some eagle and bird in there. I do see a bit of bird.
But so you're talking about the nose, right?
Yeah.
So my nose is a little altered from, probably its original state because I was playing basketball and I used to play really, really heavy, rough basketball with, very, very good people that were playing just under the NBA and leagues and things like that. And this one time I was playing and some guy, he ended up elbowing me in the face when I was going up for a rebound, and I put my hand here and I felt my nose on the side of my face. And so I went into the washroom and I saw my nose over here. So I pushed it back into place. And then I put some Kleenex into my nose and I went back out there, and then I ended up hammering him. But so I did get quite a break, but I think with what I did and putting it back into place, because it doesn't look too crooked, or, I got a little bit of a bump, but, I can feel that little tiny bump there. So maybe my nose isn't, completely how it was, intended to be.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, another thing I've been wanting to say too was for my stroke, this would be good for a lot of people too. The thing that maybe helped me the most was rubbing aged urine all over my skin. Just let it soak in.
And sit in the sun.
And I did it in the blazing sun to pick up circulation. I just kept tilting. Man, I was feeling good when I was doing that. So
you had aged urine sitting around, or do you guys practice urine therapy then, or?
Yeah, I've got about 7 gallons, 5 gallons.
Wow.
So it's good to have. I mean, if you get bit by a snake or a scorpion, or you have a big laceration you want to heal. I burnt my pinky at 3rd-degree burn. I just put it in a cup of aged urine for 7 days. And it was a blister like 3 times the size of my pinky. And it was completely gone in 7 days. And I know that wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have had it soaking in this aged urine. Monatomic gold elixir.
So do you just constantly put it into the same bucket, or each one is in its own container?
Well,
for my pinky soak, I just poured it.
Well, no, like you said, you have 5 to 7 gallons of it, so are you constantly, putting it into one big bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket of the same, or each time because I know you can't pee, obviously, 5 gallons of pee at one time, right? So are they in separate containers, or do you just dump it into one container?
Separate.
No, they're not separate. They're in 1 gallon milk jugs.
Yeah, like 1 gallon separate containers.
So you can actually combine combine a bunch of different peas together.
And if you combine it, I think it makes it better. I don't know, because there's different mineral values in each one, and all the minerals work together. And yeah, when the more I combine, the more crystals grow along the sides.
Yeah, and then if you let it I guess evaporate for a long time, like over a year, eventually if you have a gallon, you can have just a quart jar that will evaporate pretty quickly within a few months. And then all that will be left are these little crystals.
Enormous.
It's amazing. Like these crystal formations on the side of the jar.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you drink it with a straw, or you take a shot glass of it, or how much do you drink when you drink it? And how often do you do that, or?
Well, he does urine, the drinking of urine therapy more than I do. I will drink it fresh. I have done aged, but it's a little strong for me, and it just makes just flushes me out.
It will make you detox big time. It's negatively charged and alkaline. The longer you let it sit, the more negatively charged it gets, peculiarly enough, and the more alkaline. So yeah, you just pee. It's pH 7. You let it sit 5-6 days. You check it every day. Goes up a point every day, and eventually I've had urine go up to pH 13.5 in 6 months. It just grows in alkalinity. And then I got this negative ion tester. It's for pools. It tests the negative voltage. And everything I test, shilajit, fulvic acid, seawater, all my supplements, all my teas, distilled water, reverse out every water, charged water, structured water, it's all positively charged, about 100 volts. And urine straight out the tap is negatively charged, 110 millivolts. Sorry, positive. All the other stuff is positive, not 100 volts, 100 millivolts. But urine straight out the tap is negative 100 millivolts straight away. Then you let it sit, and it goes up to about 1,000 millivolts negative, which is a volt. Yeah, it's amazing. I can't find anything that goes that low. Kangen machine, $5,000 Kangen machine, only goes to negative 500 millivolts. We've got a hydrogen machine made in Japan, goes to negative 400, 500 millivolts. Urine, 1,000.
Wow.
I know. It's
Yeah.
pretty,
My favorite thing to do is that every morning is a urine rub, and it makes your skin just like glow. Amazing.
it
Wow,
does.
so that's fresh then? So you would, you know,
Well, it's
use
aged.
you
The
would
one-
you would
Yeah.
age it, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you can use fresh. I prefer the longer it ages, the less odor it has.
Yeah, it evaporates. It transmutes. If you put a poison in aged urine, like arsenic, a lethal dose, and let it age, I don't know how long, but it will neutralize the poison. So it's neutralizing all the poisons in your urine. Say you eat a bunch of food, you know it's going to be in your urine. Some stuff in there. Your urine is working to neutralize it. So that's why you want it to older. And also, the older you let it sit, the more the stem cells multiply. Fresh urine has 140 stem cells. If you age it for 3 weeks, it has 100 million.
Wow.
It's the secret to immortality.
Yeah.
We
And
just-
they're using it in like all these
Skin-
skincare products.
Yeah,
The urea.
It's
Like
the
if you look at ingredients on skincare products,
urea.
yeah.
But aren't you supposed to use your own urine because your urine has the nutrients or has whatever you're deficient something for your own body? So if someone is peeing into a beaker and then making some skincare, that's their urine. Would that not be the same as if you were using your own?
Well, it wouldn't be as good, but
I think-
apparently it's still working.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think they collect it from the hospital systems. They have like separation tanks, and then they collect it, and that's what they use the stem cells for too. That's what I've heard. I don't know that one for sure, but it probably is true. And yeah, they gather the stem cells from the public urine too.
Wow, that would be quite a shitty job to be separating the urine from the
Yeah, I don't know how
feces,
to-
I guess.
that,
That
but-
sounds a little bit
Yeah, I don't
wild.
know. That's just something we read, but who knows?
Yeah, but it's the best protocol. We just finally started. We've been doing urine therapy for like
6 years.
6, maybe 7 years, and
Wow.
we finally about 10 days ago started rubbing it on our skin because we've heard about this forever. And we've been doing it for how long? Oh my gosh, you guys, our skin is so smooth. It's like a joke. It's like, what's 10 more days of this going to do?
Yeah. It's amazing.
What were you going to say?
Wowzers.
Oh, well, I think just the environment here has, because we're like out in the country, and it's
So-
like like I said, a spring day every day, and it's the right environment for me to feel like ready to do that.
Oh, right. Plus,
Yeah.
yeah, we got a good shower water too, whereas in Mexico you normally wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because we fill our cistern with spring water from this company.
Oh, like you get spring water trucked in and then
Yeah.
put into a tank there, and then that's the house there uses this
Yeah.
spring water then?
Yeah. And then we dose it with MMS just in case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wowzers. So you said you're 7,500 feet above sea level in kind of like a mountainy type of area. So does that mean then in the winter time, which it's kind of winter now, it's I guess getting into spring, but you've been there a couple months, so you were there in winter. Does it get winter cold then, being up that high and in the mountains? Do you guys have snow? Is it, are you still able to go outside with no jacket?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about 68 to 72 year round every day.
And then
Wow.
low in the colder months, like 42. And then,
Yeah, yeah. In the winter, it gets colder at night. It gets about 35 to 42 at night,
yeah.
and then in the summer at night, it gets about 40 to 55 at night.
So you only been there a few months then at this certain location?
Yep.
What's the bugs been like then?
They're not really,
None yet.
yeah. I mean, I've been bitten by a few mosquitoes, but nothing like Minnesota. I'm hoping during the rainy season they don't explode the population.
So is the plan to stay there then for a while at this location? Is this, going to be home for a while then?
For a while, yeah.
I would like to be here for a while, except, the oxygen. I probably just need to boost my red blood cell count and ground every day so my red blood cells don't clump. That's where I'm at with it. But yeah, I would love to be here. It's all pine trees and oak trees, and right now the pine is dropping pollen, and pollen is like a super medicine, pine pollen. So we're breathing that in. That's great. People collect it and sell it. It converts bad testosterone to good testosterone in your body. Pine pollen does.
White willow bark. So someone mentioned earlier that you should maybe get a blood thinner, right? Clotting, things like that. So white willow bark is the natural blood thinner. And so that's the stuff that they make aspirin from. That's the medicine part of it, besides all of their fillers. So as you hear, if you're having a heart attack or a stroke or whatever, have aspirin, they say. And the reason why is because it has the blood thinning stuff in there to help with any clots, and the white willow bark is natural. And if you can't find that, being in a secluded place, then maybe get some aspirin. I'm not sure if you have aspirin or not, but that might be something just next time you're making a run into town. If you can't find the white willow bark, pick up some aspirin, and if you're ever feeling, a little bit, just pop an aspirin or whatever. I know I don't like the pharmaceuticals, but a pharmaceutical is better than nothing if it can help in some way.
Yeah, I'm going to go because there's some low areas. Well, not like low, but water. We have a spring, and I'm gonna see. I think there might be willow over there. I'm gonna look because I've done that before. I've like found willow, and then you scrape the bark off, you dry it, and then you make a tea. It's very bitter, but yeah, good reminder. Thank you.
Ooh, we could powder it.
Yeah, that's what someone was saying, is pine needle tea is the best. So you can, find which pines are out there, and because you can't have all of them. So just remember, you can't just grab one pine and then drink it and then hopefully hope for the best that it's not, because there is some pines that, can actually do some harm to you. So,
I think it's the long needle pine.
I know.
Is it I think that's the ones we have. I can't remember if it's the red pine
or the white pine, Scotch pine.
It might be the Scotch pine, yeah. Anyways, yes.
Angeline was saying also garlic or IP6 in still can help too. So not sure if you have garlic, have a bunch of garlic or whatever, that to see if that may be able to make you feel better.
IP6 is.
IP6 in a still.
Yeah, Angeline told me about it. She has used that. It's some special, I think you get it at the health food store or whatever. It's a certain formula called IP6 or whatever. But she said that may help as well.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Great info. Thanks to this beautiful couple, says Jill.
Thank you, Jill.
So you guys want to tell me about me?
What
you guys found out?
Yeah. So you have, as you know, you have the Scorpio sun, and you also have the Scorpio moon.
Same as me.
Yes.
Pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah.
So awesome. that kind of puts you in that, like, and it's in the third house. So the third house is communication. Scorpio's like occult knowledge.
Oh, wow.
And so you like to communicate 100%. About
And to add
adult topics.
to that, your Mercury is in Scorpio in the 3rd house, which is the master of communication.
And Mercury is your ruling planet because you have a Virgo rising.
All right, and it's in Scorpio.
Yeah, and Virgo is like for one, they look younger than their age for some reason or another. I don't.
They're the health routine sign.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Virgin, the most pure,
Yeah.
the most virtuous sign.
I'm turning 50 this year, so I probably don't look 50. So
No.
Yeah, and I'm going to be 42 in like a month.
Oh, nice.
And I have Virgo rising too.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I don't think I look that.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, like I don't know, are you into like health routines and just health in general?
So I've been awake and aware for a very long time, if not most of my life. I've 30 plus years ago trying to teach people about what's going on in the world, was trying to get these rough and tough people to take over the governments and things like that. This was 30 plus years ago, so I've always been kind of awake and aware. Wasn't so awake and aware to the pharmaceutical companies, and I got pressured into taking a bunch of travel vaccines about 13 years ago, which I think I got Achilles tendonitis on the trip. I went to a 45-day trip to Asia to 8 different countries, and some of them were third world. So they're saying you need to get all these. If you get something there, big trouble, all this kind of stuff. So I was seeing Chinese doctors. They're rubbing creams on my feet and things like that. And I think that that's what attacked my hip joints. And so for the last probably 10, 12 years, I've been on a very big health, learning about health and wellness and, really big, strong proponent of telling people not to, vaccinate their children and, things like that because of, how horrific, these things are and, things that have happened, talking to people and stuff. So yeah, I've been learning a lot about the health and the wellness, for, 10 plus years, just trying to learn as much as I can. So yeah, that's, just trying to do the best that I can.
Yeah. Going to your hips, we were looking at that because, we knew that you had to have that hip surgery. And Nick noticed, what was it? Jupiter? Jupiter.
Yeah, Jupiter.
Which is the ruler of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the hips.
So Jupiter is the hips.
Yep. And it has a bunch of squares.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, which are malefics. They cause challenges.
Stress.
Yeah. And that's what it's all going to your hips.
And it's square one planet, Mars, retrograding in the 9th house. Now, the 9th house is also the hips. And Mars is surgery. I mean, this is in your birth chart, so it's pretty broad. This isn't an acute chart. We could cast an acute chart for the moment that you got your surgery, and that would say something too, but there's probably lots of dates where your hips were bothering you. So, but yeah, it's in your natal chart.
Hip problems,
even hip surgery. I mean, Mars is surgery. Yeah, it's in the hips.
So it was meant to happen.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Part of the musical.
Yeah, everything I think is destined. I think we do have a little bit of free will, because there's vices and virtues. You can choose whether you want to go to the virtuous path or the path of vices.
Fascinating. Yeah, I got swept away and, with some drugs and alcohol for many, many years, kind of taking me away from my path. But 9 years ago, I stopped drinking alcohol. 8.5 years ago, I stopped all synthetic drugs. 8 years ago, I stopped smoking cigarettes. 6 years ago, I stopped eating meat. I've done all these different things to try to help with my hips and problems and health. And, I've been taking a lot of vitamins to the point that I think I was taking too many vitamins. At one point I was trying to pop as many vitamins in me that I found out I was getting some some kidney pains and stuff. And I figured out when I stopped taking them, I stopped getting the kidney pain. And then after a week or so of not taking, I took my vitamins and I felt that pain again. So I knew that what I was taking, and I was taking like 17 vitamins at one time, 2 times a day.
The
And
fillers, right?
probably the fillers or
Yeah.
whatever it else is, kind of in them. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, I can, I totally, agree about like the path and things. And I haven't had a cold or flu since I stopped eating meat about 6 years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
so one of the things because I was really nervous about the surgery, I'm not vaccinated, so I had to refuse all blood products because I didn't want them putting anything into me that I didn't want. So everything was, a little bit nervous. And I told myself, should I get this? And my hip started feeling better about a couple months before the surgery, started feeling better. But then like a week before my surgery, it started really hurting me. And so it was like almost telling me that, yeah, you kind of should. But I told myself, if you shouldn't get the surgery, get sick. If I get a cold or get a flu, because I haven't had a cold or flu in a long time. And I said, if you get sick, then that's it. You won't get the surgery done. But I didn't get sick. So I ended up, getting the surgery. So I kind of leave it out to the universe to tell me things as well. And, so that's what I did. And then I ended up getting the surgery just over 5.5 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. That went by fast.
Yeah. You're feeling better?
I just had my x-rays today about my, about the surgery. So I ended up seeing my doctor, seeing what it actually looks like in me. And I don't know if you can see this, but this is, hang on, if it comes, those
Yep.
those are the bars that are in me. You can see that on the left and the right on inside the bone. So that's I just saw that today, and she said everything is healing well. And I'm a little bit behind, but it was a heavy surgery. So the nurse was saying that she had one hip done and she was on crutches for 6 weeks. And so I'm starting to walk a little bit without the crutches, but she told me not to do that because it's better not to walk with a limp without them than to try to walk normally with the crutches, because could do more damage trying to push it too fast. But I just got that done here today. So
Huh.
Good.
Wow.
One other thing I see in your chart is there's this shape that it's called a yod, also known as a finger of God, and it's fairly rare. We don't see it too often in charts, and it's going to your Saturn, and Saturn is like mastery, and the yod is like destiny. It's like God's purpose for you, and it's in Cancer. So something to do with like mastering, like as a caregiver, or like motherly, like being like this like motherly like caregiver. I don't know if that like resonates.
Or home life or something.
Yeah, home life.
Well, I know I want to fix the world, and I've been trying to help and heal the world, a caregiver to the world.
Right.
I've counseled many people. I've done so much to help and assist people throughout my journey that, for me, that kind of resonates when it comes to being a steward of the earth and caregiver of the earth. So that may be.
Yeah, it's in an earth house too, Capricorn. The 10th house. Yeah.
I noticed another cool thing too. Your 10th house, which is your career, which you're known for, who you are in the public eye. God's purpose, also. Very similar.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that this yod, the God's purpose for you that is rare, is pointing to the 10th house, which is God's purpose for you. So it's like doubled, accentuated.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
But your 10th house is in Gemini, and the cusp is pointing to Gemini. and you have the 10th house as your career, and you know what you look like, your honor, your glory, your fame, what you look like in the public. But it's pointing to Gemini, which is the talk show host. And then you go to the ruler of the 10th house to glean more information about your career, which is Mercury, because 10th house cusp is pointing to Gemini. We go down to Mercury, and it's in Scorpio, which is occult knowledge. So you're speaking of occult knowledge, and your career has to do with occult, hidden secret knowledge, and that's in the 3rd house too of communication. So there's lots of communication stuff in there.
Yeah.
Wow. So this, doing this and interviewing people may be in alignment with what I'm supposed to be doing.
100%.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's a cool thing. And then you can look up all 360 degrees on our book, which each planet, we'll say Mars 1 degrees, and it'll show you which body part it's on. So Mars is in Taurus 1 degree, and it's in detriments, and it's a malefic and it's retrograde. So it's more than likely, depending on its angles to it, more than likely negatively affecting Taurus's system, the endocrine system, and the throat, neck, and thyroid. And specifically at 1 degree, the throat or gullet. So, throat again.
And the nose.
And the nose. And the nose. That's the Mars retrograde.
Wow.
So, and the day that happened, when it happened to your nose, something was poorly aspecting that Mars at 1 degrees Taurus on the nose.
Huh.
Something was perfectly opposite and probably square it. And then the guy that did it probably had a Mars that was also square.
Your Mars.
Your Mars at 1 degree on the nose.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so neat how this all kind of relates to, the sun, moon, and the planet stars. Really, they end up having an effect on us and who we are. It just shows how cosmic and how connected we are to source, the universe that's around us, that we aren't just a little, useless blip, that we do have a profound impact on, the whole collective as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that everything is perfect. Even if it doesn't feel like it, like if something feels wrong, nothing's wrong. Because it's all in the stars. It's meant to happen. That always makes me feel better.
Totally. Tammy just says she was checking out your website yesterday for a reading and was so excited when she saw that you were going to be here on the missing link. And then we have Jill says, I have to reach out for a chart myself. How can people do that? I just posted your website and, your YouTube channel. So if they were looking for a reading, would they go to your website or how would they do that?
Yeah, so you can go to crystalclearcompass.com and then go to services. And under services is the astrology. And there's I was explaining earlier, there's different chart readings we can do. You could get the full package where we do all those chart readings. So yeah, you can check it out there.
Yeah, and we do one, maybe you need some explaining on it, one to show when the oil in your spine rises, because when the moon is in your sun sign, there's it's described as a psychophysical germ, oil, seed, and it begins right in your solar plexus, because your solar plexus is like a ganglia, a little tiny brain that manufactures all the oil for your entire body. But when the moon's in your sun sign, and we'll tell you and we'll give you a list of dates every time it is for 2.5 days, you just don't consume tons of food. Try not to consume acidic food. Try to fast. Try to breathe to keep your body alkaline, because when it's alkaline, it pushes spinal fluid up. And in that seed, it multiplies and it hits, for all the people that have heard Santos explain this so perfectly. It reaches a nerve up there and a couple glands, and then it administers cerebral spinal fluid to dormant areas of your brain and tissue salts. And, it's like a practice of regeneration and immortality. But we tell you the dates that happens because the stars are.
And that's the Raising the Chrism reading.
It's called Raising the Chrism reading.
Fascinating. Jennifer's asking if you do you do solar returns?
Yeah, we can do solar returns. That would be under a general reading.
And what is this solar return reading?
So, on your birthday, your chart changes a little bit. So, like your sun always stays the same, but it just like shifts.
Gives you a different theme per year.
Yeah.
It's the theme of your year.
Mm-hmm. So you can see like what you might experience in that year.
So with the stars and the sun and the moon, the way they move around in alignment and it affects us, do you think that we are a spinning ball floating through space and being affected that way, or do you think that stuff is all just floating around us and we're stationary and that stuff affects us because it's floating around above us?
Well, the way that I understand it and like to think of it is that there's like this crystal dome or glass or some sort of
frequency.
Dome or frequency that's holding the Neptunian waters above us. And in those Neptunian waters are the planets, but they're not like these solid planets that we were programmed to think that they are. It's actually sound moving through water.
Water creating light.
Yeah, and it creates light. Like if you look up on YouTube, like what is
sonoluminescent star in a jar? That would be the stars.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely firm.
Yeah.
Terra firma, fixed. And the sun and moon, they're within us though, and those are local. You can definitely see that they do this circle like this, and in July it's like this tight circle, and in Capricorn in December it's definitely this low circle. I mean,
yeah, you can see it. And like the one point I really like to put out there is, do you feel like you're moving however many miles per hour?
And does the government lie to us ever?
Well, the big thing right now is the division between the flat earthers and the rounder, spinning ball earthers, I guess. And, that's people say that's, the flat earth theory is a CIA, op to get people again divided. Again, some people believe that they changed it to the round earth. It used to be all flat earth until
it was only 200 some years ago that it was flat, right?
Well, I might even be as early as late as in the 40s, just before they had the Roswell and all these type of things. Everything before may have been taught. They try to tell you Darwin, talked about the round Earth, thousands of Copernicus or whatever a long time ago. I don't know. I have a hard time believing anything really because they've lied about so much. They lie about the history. They lie about, everything basically to keep people divided and confused. So it's hard to really know. But like as Susan says here, water always keeps level. Every container, water has a container as level, and then they say, well, water spins around the earth. The earth is spinning to keep it in. But again, like you said, do you really feel yourself spinning? Like the outer area might be going at 1,000 miles per hour, but you look at the moon out there or star, and how long does it, hours and hours and hours before it goes just through your horizon? So how slow are we actually going for it to take hours for it to go? and how fast would it actually have to be spinning in order for it to suck in the water. So, you know, I'm a math guy, and a lot of this stuff mathematically doesn't make sense, but I have people that are round earther, you know, like guys that they'll fight to about this round earth. So anytime I see anything cool, I'm always sending it to them. And one guy, that's bullshit and this and that, and he's like freaks out. The other guy deducts it and tries to explain it very mathematically, very eloquently. Like he's very good. He doesn't get bothered that I'm always sending him this flat earth stuff, right? But I want his opinion, his interpretation on, and he doesn't mind, right? And you know, he doesn't get angry about it. And the one guy gets angry, I just send it to him because he gets angry. So I just keep sending stuff to him anyways, because he's a little arrogant, and so he's it's funny to get his reactions about it. I have no idea, right? I've been researching stuff for a long time. Stuff makes sense this way, stuff makes sense that way. I don't know. I just know they lie to us about everything. So it's hard for me to firmly believe unless I see, unless I actually experience it. I would love to go on a spaceship and go up out there. If I ever had a UFO ever came and said, Jesse, you need to get in. Let's go. Can I bring my dog and my girlfriend? Right? Like, that's what I would be. That's what I would be saying. Right. So
Yeah. One thing that really interests me is the other lands. Like there's maps, even like old maps of these other lands.
I think that's why they made the ball to limit that it's not maybe an infinite plane, or to even just reduce the fact that there's other continents way out there that they're all missing. Like if they got control of everything, they got control of the map, and if they got control of the map, you think they're not just going to get around and say, "Hey, should we just leave out maybe this one where we hang out all the time, huh?" And all these other properties.
I think that there is a lot more land that they're not telling us. I saw an old Buddhist map from the 1400s that were showing some of this other land. We see these pictures of this land of, Agartha and different places and these different maps and things. And I'm very open to learning and exploring more of that idea, and I don't close that. But Cindy says, does it really matter if it's flat or round? And it actually does, Cindy. And the reason why it does is because they're using it to divide us in so many ways. I'm just seeing more and more. If you're a flat earther, get off of my page. If you're this, and people are getting angry and they're attacking people, each other about it. And it's hard to unify when there's so many reasons. So yeah, I think it is, I think it does matter. And I think that once we finally can prove things one way or another, it'll show people, that they have been lied to, whether it's this way or that way. Like, I don't care if it's round or flat. I just want to know the truth is where I'm at. But until we know the truth, we're going to stay divided. They're going to keep on having power over us. So yeah, I think it does. I think it does matter.
Yeah.
Sashi says, I'm not upside down here in Australia, haha, or do I not resonate with Mother Earth moving? And that's the other big thing, is that they tell us that they have this Elon Musk car out in space. They got rovers on Mars. They've got, China just brought something out from the moon or whatever. But why can't they show us one of these rockets that turn around and then just show us the Earth, show us Australia upside down, show us it's spinning, and they have these big telescopes that can see galaxies away. So why don't you just turn it around on the Earth, show us real time how things look like? Because there's nothing I've ever seen. They got the images, you got these, you'll see the space station, and then you'll see the Earth, but it's so close that you don't even see much of what it looks like. Nothing looks real to me. And then you got Musk saying, oh, it looks so fake that it must be real. He's like, it looks so fake that it must be real. And then I was watching the elevation of the rockets, and it goes up to about 2,000 or 3,000 feet or whatever, and then it
Yeah.
just levels off, and then
Yeah.
it levels off, right? So does it go out into the ocean when it goes down before anybody sees anything? Like, I don't know, but there's just, it's not, doesn't make sense. And if it doesn't make sense, I can't firmly say one way or the other, because like I said, until I see it myself, I can't believe anything, no matter how much you try to calculate in these calculations, because the math may be, you know, done scientifically in a way for people to calculate things that's wrong, right? And you're using these certain calculations, but it could be on fake math, right? So again, I have a hard time, you know, I listen to everybody. I'm trying to learn, but me, for doing research for so long, I still don't know myself.
Right.
It's like it's Christmas all over again, and we're 11 years old, and we're sitting there saying, "You really coming through that chimney?" And like the other cousins, like, "Yeah, you know, I seen Dad take a bite out of the cookie. Did he?" You know, it's almost that bad. Like it's like we're 15 years old, 13 years old, and we're figuring out Santa Claus isn't real. Like this is where I'm at with it. Like, there's just too many things wrong since 2000.
You froze there. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but you're frozen right now.
Things. Oh, we cut out, huh?
Yeah, you guys were frozen. You guys are back now.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me?
Jeez.
Talking about things.
Too many
Oh,
fragile little minds out there.
yeah, you guys kind of bounced out for a second, but you guys are back.
Okay, good.
Funny.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's held out this long, because sometimes the signal here is iffy.
Yeah, it's been so far so good. Like, I've had some really, really tough interviews with people with bad connections, and you know, whatever you guys got going on there is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what we did, but called around and told them to press some buttons, and they made the internet worse, and then they fixed it, and then now it's good. But yeah, to me it's pretty funny. It's like figuring out Santa Claus with this thing.
With the shape of the earth.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their take on, you know, why, and both sides have compelling arguments,
They
right?
do, I know, and
there's
it's hard.
Then there's other shapes coming out, you know, that
Dog Earth.
like concave
Earth, hollow Earth.
hollow earth. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Mhm.
And then it makes
Underground lands.
That's true. Because a friend came over to Santos once, and they said they just met a guy who just came out from under Mexico, and there's a Mayan civilization down there. And I've heard more about that too. You know,
I, for some reason, believe that there are civilizations that are living in the earth. Whether Shambhala, whether this Mayan, you know, a civilization. I just believe that there are people, like civilizations, living in the earth. That's just something that resonates with me. I don't have any proof of it, but it just feels that I believe that they are more out there than, you know, we know.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, there's got to be. They made a good movie about that too, and there's even a sun below us too. What was that movie? Anyways, somebody knows. Yeah, that was amazing. But yeah, and it makes you wonder, you know, in this topic, round, flat, concave, whichever it is. Well, then your mind always automatically goes to, well, it's a digitally arranged hologram, or, you know, or a projection of your mind. You know, you could go down that way too.
Yeah, maybe it's both. Whatever's each person.
Whatever the dreamer's dreaming, yeah.
Well, that's again with history. So beyond 200 years, did any of it really happen? Did this just start 200 years ago? Everyone was programmed with a certain, this was history 2,000, 5,000, 6,000 years ago. None of it really happened, but that's just the program that we've all been programmed, that we've been, here for, since Neanderthals, or we came from monkeys, or, whatever it is that they want people to believe. But does any of this stuff really happen? I don't know, because again, they lie to us in so many ways that it's hard to trust anything. So I'm just at the belief that I don't know. I'm not firmly, into one way or another, because again, there is so much deception, and that's how they rule us, is keep us divided, because they keep us at each other with all these labels. I'm a flat earther, I'm a round earther, I'm this, I'm that, I'm left, I'm right, I'm colors, I'm the borders, I'm this country, and all that. And again, I think that keeps us divided, because nobody can, everybody's too worried about proving themselves right or wrong, or being right or wrong, that they forget that we're all being controlled by the same parasites that want us labeled and at each other.
Yeah, exactly. The age of Pisces, the Iron Age, the fall of consciousness, the age of deception, confusion, illusion. It really exactly did what the sign represents. And we're only about 0.5% into the age of Aquarius. So when you read a chart and somebody's 0.5% into Taurus, they're definitely the sign behind a little. So we're still really only on the cusp of Aquarius, Pisces. We're still, we're only a tiny bit into the age of Aquarius, which is why you see all the truth coming up. Aquarius represents truth, freedom, community, humanity, friends, internet, intellect, inventions, geniuses, innovations, the mind, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. And you see a lot of that stuff coming in. Everyone's speaking truth online through the internet. It's all Aquarian stuff with their friends. And we all got online friends now. That's what the age of Aquarius represents. Friendships. Inventions. There's lots of... I just seen a book come out the other day. It's called The Genius Plague. I haven't read it, but I know I always get a big feeling about a book. I think everyone does, just off the title, especially if you sit and think about it. And I'm guessing it's about there's like a plague of genius going around, because we're going into the age of Aquarius. We just left the Piscean age, which is, its mineral in medical astrology is iron phosphate, and is considered the Iron Age. It's considered the fall of consciousness. It's 2,000 years long. Each age is 2,000 years long. So you can see, if the age of Aquarius just began in 2012, we're only a tiny bit in. But the last age, it's the fish, and they had everyone looking at the Earth through a fisheye lens. I don't know how long the ball deception was, but the last 72 years of the Piscean age was double Piscean. So that was from 1962 and 72 years back was double Piscean. And after that, from 1962 to 2012 was 50-50 cusp of Pisces and Aquarius. So you're going to be seeing a lot of deception in that area too, but a really whole lot of deception, confusion, illusion, fog,
poisons, toxins, garbage.
Poseidon's the ruler. He rules poison. Yeah, it's the sign of garbage, because it's the feet, the dirtiest part, where you detox, where all the garbage in your body goes. But from 1962 and back, 72 years would be like the peak of the Piscean fall of consciousness. Lies. Pisces represents insane asylums.
That's alcohol. What I call this place.
Yes, it really is, man. Everyone's unconscious, and Pisces is the unconscious sign. It's the fish. It's below. It's in the water. It's the subconscious. It's below, and there's no oxygen down there. Air is consciousness. When you're up here breathing, that gives you consciousness. Fish don't have any air. They don't have consciousness. They're sort of unconscious, subconscious. They're in the dream realm. That's what Pisces is. Pisces is the dream realm. Everyone's dreaming, running around, confused, cuckoo, lost, holding their breath. And Pisces individuals, they get brain fog a lot because they don't get enough oxygen to their head because they're deficient iron phosphate. And pretty much any Pisces agrees with this, in my experience. And people with Pisces friends, they'll notice that. That's the age we just left.
Kat says Aquarius also represents transhumanism, so that will rise soon as well. Do you know about that?
Yeah, she's right. Yeah, that'll be too. Yeah. Well, transhumanism, as in like
AI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're wanting to
Yeah.
transhumanize people. They want people to become cyborgs, people to become hackable digital humans. We got this, douchebag Noah Harari that's talking about we're all hackable humans and dictators never had this technology before, and talking about like some really crazy stuff that they want us, and like Neuralink, they want us to upload our consciousness into this mainframe so you can like live forever, I guess, in this consciousness. So this stuff is scary because some people are all raw, like let's go, like let's put a me into a robot and let's upload my consciousness, like let's do it, I'm my infant. And you got people like that
that's going to be another division.
Again, and it'll be like physical division where people will actually be these robot humans opposed to natural humans, and then I guess that's when things will get a little bit spicy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's totally gonna happen, isn't it?
We hope not, right? I think that there's a lot of people working on not having that happen. I believe that they've ruled for as long as they have because of secrecy, but in their little pajama party underground hidden societies drinking out of skulls and things, and now that stuff's being exposed and people are becoming aware of who they are and what they are, and we're using their technology against them to be able to talk with people all around the world to share this knowledge. And I think that is their downfall.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when you're talking about the the days and age of Aquarius and the Pisces age and all this, they have done some things to us as well when it comes to dates and calendars. I believe it was in the 1400s, 14 or 1600s, they changed us to a Gregorian calendar, and which added like 13 days per year. And then, as well as some people believe that we used to be on a 28 calendar cycle, 28 days for 13 months. They took off a month, and we used to start the year off at April 1st. And that's why it's kind of coming up here. April 1st it's April Fools, haha, suckers. This is, supposed to be the beginning of the year, the beginning of spring. So how do you think that changes some of the calendar, some of the dates, the areas? Some people believe that we're only in 2013 right now, not 2023. So, does that change the Aquarian, Piscean? I know it takes a while to go into that, but as well as what about like birth dates? Like I'm Scorpio and I look at it and I see myself as Scorpio. So maybe I'm right, but would some other people not have the same if they're reading their chart and they're like, hey, that's not me? And, and they're like, they don't get that. Could that be because the calendars are a little bit messed up?
I mean, it could be just like with the shape of the earth. Who knows, really? Like as far as like the dates and what they are. We really don't.
Santos just explained to us that it's not. you can't change. You can't. The solstice is always the solstice. The equinox is always the equinox, and the calendar is put on that. So whatever you put 500 days in there, the solstice will always be on the solstice. I don't know. He explained it, and it made sense. I can't regurgitate it, but no, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which template you put on, because we're talking about where the sun is on the sine wave, on the ecliptic. So if it's at 1 degrees at the beginning of the solstice, it'll always be at 1 degree at the beginning of the solstice, no matter what. You'll always be 1 degree Cancer. Whatever date you put to that, it's the 38th of November or the. So no, I don't think it matters. I've thought of that a lot, and no, there's so much accuracy in the chart, and I really think that 2012 was the end of the cusp, and 1962 was the beginning of the cusp from Pisces to Aquarius. So, yeah, I don't know how to explain that super good, but Santos assures me many times over that it doesn't matter with the calendars.
Elia says that you two look like twin souls.
Yeah. So my ascendant's 23 degrees Taurus, and her son's 24 degrees Taurus.
Yeah.
So we are kind of twinning.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So thoughts on the next year or two? Do you guys are you optimistic that things are coming to light, that that we are going into a point where things are going to get better? Do you think that things may get much worse? Do you think maybe an alien invasion in 2024, which a lot of people are predicting is going to happen, or a fake alien invasion, whatever you want to say? Like, what's your thoughts on what the next few years is going to hold for all of us?
Yeah, well, with this transition of Pluto entering Aquarius just a few days ago, I know I've personally felt this like transition, and it's been feeling good for me personally. Pluto is that death and rebirth, and it's moving in to a new sign. It hasn't been in Aquarius for 248 years. And then over the course of the next couple years, it's going to be moving back and forth over that cusp of Aquarius Capricorn. So it's still it's like this hesitation, like we're ready to transform and be rebirthed, but not quite yet. So, we're still in for a little bit of a ride, I would think. But it's going to get better.
Yeah,
it is.
I think there's going to be a lot of good things that are going to happen and a lot of bad things that are going to happen, and people are going to continue to keep separating. And I think the 7-year tribulation happened on 2019 when COVID began, when Jupiter and Saturn were both conjunct 0 degrees Aquarius. I think that was Satan's 7-year tribulation, where he breaks his peace treaty, and there's no peace for 7 years. That's totally just my idea. I don't think I've heard that anywhere, but it might be true.
Yeah,
I like to hear that. So you think that tribulation started in 2019? So you think till 2026 or something that we're going to be going through that 7 years?
I think so, because they have 2 more pandemics planned. Who knows if they'll work? Monkeypox didn't work after the first one.
Well, I heard this next one is supposed to target the stomach, the biome in the stomach and stuff. So I guess that's the next one is supposed to from what I hear, I'm part of a bunch of journal clubs where I get together with journalists from all around the world and talk about different things. So I'm privy to a lot of different information, and I believe that's where that came up, that they believe that the next one is supposed to target the stomach.
I bet. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. So we'll see 2026. And then Saturn conjunct Jupiter started a cycle too. That wasn't a 7-year cycle.
Mm-hmm.
But Saturn's the 7th planet, and he's Satan, which has the sickle. So he kind of has his own 7-year cycle built in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then Pluto's right on that Jupiter Saturn conjunction at 0 degrees Aquarius. That's where Pluto is right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's just hit that like 3 days ago, or however long, a few days ago.
So
Yeah.
people have been experiencing a lot of different symptoms this last 3 days, week, motions up and down, people, a lot of different people experiencing crying out of nowhere. These things, how could you maybe explain that to anybody that's maybe feeling some symptoms out of the blue in this last, week or two?
Well, it's definitely this month has been full of transition. We had Saturn going into Pisces, so at the beginning of March. Then we had Pluto into Aquarius just a few days ago. Mars into Cancer. 2 days ago. That's I think when Nick was having his symptoms of the possible stroke. And then also the Schumann resonance has been off the charts. So I know that's, it's all working together, but, this too shall pass, as it always does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe, we're very resilient, and we're able to, our bodies, no matter what they're throwing at us. And, like Nick, maybe your, stroke is not a stroke. You may be just feeling some of these energies from these different things. And it just may be because you're so in tune, you're really feeling these frequencies or these energies. And, you're just trying to make sense of it, like medically, and relating it to a possible stroke. But it might be something more cosmic and, just, with the energies that are going around as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was partly that, I think. Sure.
Yeah, and then we had a close friend do a distance energy reading healing, and it was a important reminder that he does need to breathe. Nick needs to focus on his breathing, deep breathing.
Breathing is some of the most important things that a lot of people, I don't have good breath as myself. My blood, my oxygen is low. I'm take shallow breaths instead of taking big deep breaths. So just starting to get on good breathing practices can benefit people's health. People don't sweat a lot, so you detox through sweating. So if you're not sweating, regularly, the toxins are staying inside of your pores, inside of your skin. Not sure if you have that issue there in Mexico, where you're probably sweating a lot. There, because it's probably
Not
gets pretty
here, but yeah, not here,
in
but
the
where
other
we were,
parts.
yeah, in the other parts, yeah, it was horrible.
But
That's another thing with the lymph. That's like where the toxins sit, a lot of them. And then what we were reading about exercising, like moving the muscles, like squeezing the muscles. It's like, what was that again?
With the fascia, or with pumping the happy hormone?
Pumping the happy hormone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a happy hormone. You pump your muscular system is like one large endocrine gland that secretes happy chemicals, hormones, compounds that cannot be simplistically named, I don't think. But yeah, that's why working out works for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sweating, detoxing, fasting. These are some really important things because they've been targeting us with chemicals. They've been targeting us with, pesticides and poisons and frequencies and stuff they're spraying in the air. So, anytime that you can fast, detox, this stuff is, really, really good to help eliminate this stuff out of the body.
That's why it's so important to keep up on it too, because we are getting bombarded with all these toxins. I mean, you can escape it. You can escape it from the food and the water pretty well, but not the air. I mean, we're constantly breathing. we're not constantly drinking, we're not constantly eating, but we're constantly breathing.
Yeah, and you're constantly bathing in a field of energy too, which could be a million cell phone, Wi-Fi, radio, satellite, whatever his name, Elon Musk's Starlink, whatever else, ground-based. Oh my gosh, it's a stew of frequency.
So it's important to keep up on these protocols, because Nick, he's like the protocol master.
Yeah.
And look what happened to him 3 days ago.
Oh my god.
It's like, makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Do you ever, some people believe that if you ground your bed, it actually has like, so you buy some copper wire. So, and then you actually can put like, some people use that metal duct tape and put it all down on their bed. And then they attach the copper wire to that metal duct tape, and then they put it outside and they put it into the ground somewhere. And some people have found like crazy healing effects from that. Do you know where you guys are sleeping? Are you guys close to the Wi-Fi router box, or like, are you guys, because I know I've heard that, some parent had, her children were sick and they were constantly sick and taking them to the doctors here and there, and she couldn't figure out what was wrong with these kids, and they were always sick. Well, they had the smart meter that was just outside of where their kid's bedroom was.
Oh my
And
god.
so they changed their room, and all of a sudden the kids just got better. And it was actually just that placement of the box where their room was, where they were sleeping every night beside this box, that made them sick.
Oh my gosh. We need to be reminded, because we're bathing it all the time. It's like, yeah, whatever, maybe we got used to it, forget about it. But yeah, we need to hear that again. It's so bad.
Yeah. We're pretty far away from, we're on the opposite end, but still.
And then our bed's not grounded, and that's something I want to do. And I've been thinking, Rigel from Radiant Technology, our Tesla coil, negative electricity thing, she says you could run a wire to your copper, run a copper wire to your coils in your bed, the springs, because they're all connected, and that would ground you too. But I don't know if that's true. I'm going to test it.
Some people believe when they have their grounding, because you have your ground wire in your house. So, you have your two prongs. I'm not sure it's the same as Mexico, but there's two prongs, and then the bottom one is a ground. That ground actually is grounded into the ground. So some people, they plug in their grounding mats is because they use that grounding wire. I know that electricity is dirty. It's dirty electricity. So if you're using the ground that's right by the electricity, may not have the same effect as if you actually just ran a straight wire out into the ground, to your bed. I like, that's what my next, thing, once I start getting mobile, I want to ground my bed. I think
That's been on Nick's radar
Yeah.
the last couple of days.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah, I don't want to plug it into the wall. And I got the cable already. I got 8-gauge cable, which is way too much. But I have it for our Tesla coil thing, which plugs into the ground. But I'm gonna use that, and then I got like a 5-foot copper grounding rod. Well, it's copper coated steel. For my Tesla coil, I'll probably get another one of those, and I ram it in right next to this huge oak tree. That's got to be enough grounding, huh? And it's only right around the corner too. Like, there's a patio door going right out. So with that huge cable and rod and oak tree, but then what am I going to plug it into? Because like I was saying, some people plug it in to the coils, to the springs on their bed, but I don't think that's going to work, because you're not really touching the metal directly.
So what I heard was a guy, he takes metal duct tape, like the metal type, and he just went on the top of his mattress, just underneath his sheet, and he just put this tape all along the whole entire bed, and then he attached it to this metal tape, and then that's how he's grounded himself. So that's what he did. So it's actually, you're laying right on that grounded tape, so that comes close to you into your body.
Well, maybe we should do that. I like the feeling of that.
Yeah. Wonder if it's crunchy. I'm a Taurus, so I like the simple, soft.
If you put a sheet over it, shouldn't be. Well, I guess we could test it.
Yeah.
We could test it. It wouldn't cost too much. Then you don't got to order that thing.
Mm-hmm.
You could test it on a pillow and then just put it on a little small pillow and then see how it is to sit on the pillow and see if,
Yeah,
you know, because you're going to move around and
good
but
idea. Yeah.
but you could get also, if you do put it right on the bed, you can get like a thick, I mean, like a thin little, like not a
Pad.
match, but pad, like a little
Yeah,
pad that goes over top to
yeah,
makes it nice and soft. Like there's ways that you could
sure.
probably do that, but
Yeah.
there's tons of people online that I'm sure you can just, how do I ground my bed? What's ways? And just start researching, looking at some videos, and you'll
Mm-hmm.
probably, you know, something will pop up where, you know, comes, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, I just joined the grounding group on Facebook. 26,000 people, and they're all talking about grounding. And then I actually just watched the documentary. I've heard about that documentary for a long time. I think there's two of them. But all these people carrying their snoring and their joint pain just after one night, that's miraculous.
That's why I'm sad that I didn't you know, ground my bed before I ended up getting the surgery and things. And you know, you know, I don't like doctors and hospitals and things, so I wasn't really keen on this. But you know, I've been living in pain for a long time, and I have my girlfriend Angeline that she spends like hours sometimes working on my legs because I'm in so much pain and stuff, right? And she, like, you know, walks up and down them, massages them, and you know, and takes most of the pain away. But she's doing that, you know, 2 times a week, 3 times a week sometimes, where, you know, she's having to do that. And when, you know, the whole thing happened with the hospitals, could I get it anyways because of not having, they say if you're not vaxxed they won't do surgeries and things. So I wanted to see what that was like, so I went and put my name on the list. And then now that this kind of, all the restrictions came down, like you said, is there another pandemic? Are there other things coming? Are they going to be restricted later on? So I just wanted to get it done with, and then, you know, hopefully that this will change, you know, like my life, where I don't have to live constantly in pain.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no kidding. It actually might be the thing that could really change it.
Yeah, hospitals do have their place.
Oh yeah, they got
Yeah.
lots of good things.
Yeah.
Lots of good things. They're master surgeons though. Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah, you get into a car accident, you break your bones, you got, like, you know, and ultimately most doctors are good people. Most nurses are good people.
Oh yeah.
They're just living in, or working in a system that has protocols that are allopathic medicine based, and they have to work within those parameters. But most of them are good people. Most of them want to help people. Most of them are got into the profession because they really care about others, and they're stuck behind these protocols. So, and you know, that's why people are, oh, you know, doctors are bad and nurses are, they're poisoning people, but they're just following their spell that they're under, their programming, their you know, what they've been brought up into. And I don't think most of them are bad people. Like there was a guy in the States, was a doctor, and he got caught diagnosing over 200 people with cancer that didn't have cancer, because they make about 40 grand off of every diagnosis, you know, 30 to 40,000 every time a doctor diagnoses someone. They make about 30 to 40 grand. So he diagnosed 200 people that went through and had to do the chemotherapies and all these things that never even had cancer. So that's a parasitic scumbag. Like that's a bad dude, right? Like that's not a good doctor. But I think those of them are small. Like there isn't a lot of actual people that are into the healthcare that are doing it for nefarious reasons.
Right.
Yeah, like 90, I would say like 99% of them have good intentions.
Yeah,
Probably.
they think they're doing the right thing.
That
Yeah.
guy had to have been the cancer, because cancers can get greedy and they work with cancer.
It's $1 million for every person that gets diagnosed with cancer. That's what it is. So that's why they can pay the doctors 30 or 40 grand out of that $1 million. That's what every person that gets diagnosed is, about $1 million to the healthcare industry. And that's why 50% of people it's coming up on are having cancer. Almost everybody before this, you know, stupid COVID stuff, almost everybody you hear died. They died of cancer. They got cancer. They went to chemo and died. They got cancer, chemo and died. You know, they had cancer, they had a heart attack or things like that. But majority of the people that I've heard over the last, 10, 15 years have died somehow because they got diagnosed with cancer. They went on chemo, and, my dad, they diagnosed him, and within 11 months he was dead. He wouldn't listen to me. He wouldn't take the cannabis oil. No drugs, he says, as he's putting drug poisons into him. I tried to give him the apricot seeds. I tried to, do all kinds of stuff, but he wasn't hearing any of it. And he just trusted the doctor. And, within 11 months from the time he got diagnosed, he was gone.
Same with my father. He was diagnosed with cancer, but surprisingly, his doctor recommended a vegan diet along with chemo. So it went into remission because of the vegan diet, because once it went into remission, he kind of like went away from the vegan diet, and it came back, and then he died in 2 years after being diagnosed.
Somebody's asking, what's the shelf life of black seed oil? Do you know that?
I don't know. It's a good question. I'd say keep it in the fridge for sure. Lasts longer.
Yeah, 2 years in the fridge max.
Yeah, max.
Any oil only lasts like a year in the fridge.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are such a cute couple. I can see me and Angeline coming and visiting you guys when we come down to Mexico. I think it'd be great to like hang out with the two of yous.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You're welcome. Anytime.
Did we get through all the stuff in the chart or whatever that you maybe wanted to share?
Maybe give them a bit more glimpse of the book. So we have a book. It's like a guidebook we wrote. We wrote it for ourselves to help do readings with. And it's amazing. We keep adding stuff and adding stuff and adding stuff. And then we put it up for sale in 2017, sold like 40 or 50 PDF copies. And then we revised it 3 months ago with a bunch of mineral deficiency symptoms and additional information, mostly regarding the mineral tissue salts. And that's all in there. It's like organized like a big section for Aries, all the degrees, mineral symptoms, you have that deficiency. And then in the degrees is like 5 degrees Aries is like the tongue. So if you got Saturn there, you got something up with your tongue. Saturn G square, something like that. And then like I've done readings with like Saturn was in Aries, because Saturn really does destruction throughout the chart, especially in Aries. Saturn was at 11 degrees on the optic nerve. Well, this man was blind, and so on. So you just pull up your chart on astro.com or on a separate website, and then get our book to the side, and then go through, and then you can like highlight it too because it's a PDF. Yeah, and then so like the section of Aries with degrees, and then mineral information, and then like foods you can find that mineral in, like turnips are rich with potassium phosphate, sodium sulfate. We're on Taurus, but yeah, I think you get it.
And then we also have like crystal and stone and metal remedies too. So for instance, if you have like Mars and Taurus, like you, and I also have that.
Yeah, and then
you would benefit from wearing like a turquoise copper necklace.
Yes. Turquoise is for Taurus. Turquoise is made out of copper. That's why it turns that color, like copper. Yeah. And copper is for Venus, and Venus rules Taurus. So if you put copper, Venus's planet, on Venus's body part, it balances it. It really does. I figured this out on mescaline, like in 2017. I don't know. But it works. And every once in a while it'll break, and then my neck just feels irritable. And then I'll put this back on. You can feel all these tissues just like relax. It's like something with this homeopathic frequency. I don't know.
And
where can I get a necklace like that?
I make them.
You do?
I do, yeah. Amazing. Just got to figure out the shipping from Mexico. I haven't got that far yet.
Okay, well, we'll have to figure something out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and she custom makes them for your birth chart. And then these are just some pre-made ones.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Huh.
That's great. And do you have them like listed on your website then?
I do. Yep. Yeah,
So
there's
actual pictures, people can see
yep,
what they look like and
yep,
what they
yep.
do. And does it also tell like if you're an Aquarius, this would resonate with you, or like does that go as well? Or
Well, what we recommend is to get a crystal reading, which is just a short, little reading that you can get. And also on the website, it will say like one of the necklaces will have apatite, the crystal apatite, and that will be for Capricorn, and it will say that like under the picture. So then you can just go that route too.
that's very cool.
Yeah. And also with the book, we have additional balancing techniques. So for if you need to enhance your Taurus energy, you can stargaze at Venus, which you can see very well right now in the sky. It's pretty close to the moon right now. You can also moon gaze because moon is exalted in Taurus. So that's
Or
Taurus.
yeah, or moon gaze when the moon is in Taurus.
Yeah, that's even more powerful.
Really just that frequency.
Yeah. And then lastly, you can chant to Venus. So there's different chants for each planet. Venus's chant is Ram Shukraya Namahe. And you can do that in the particular key of F sharp major because that's the tone that is associated with Venus and Taurus.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
very
it's all in
cool.
the book.
Do you have the book there?
Well, it's a PDF. So if you go
Okay.
to our website and then go to services and then astrology, and then at the bottom of the page is the book you can order.
Do you guys do hard copies at all yet, or is
Not
it
yet.
just okay? Is that something that you're
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at into
Yeah,
the
I was
future?
looking into like putting it onto Amazon, but I don't know if I appreciate their how they do it.
Amazon, they got a good network distribution, but you get basically very little money from them. And then
Yeah,
sometimes they steal it. And I've heard
exactly.
lots of really bad stories. What
Yeah.
you want to do is you find your own little,
Publish.
publisher, or like a printer, a book printer, print your
Mm,
guys' own copies. And then, just sell them straight off the website, just like you would send a necklace, you can send
yeah,
people their own hard copy books.
yeah, great idea.
We need a warehouse in America
Yeah,
with necklaces, and Micaiah can run it.
yeah.
Books.
My oldest daughter.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So your kids are back in the US?
They are, yeah. Yep, they live off grid with their dad in Minnesota. I have well, my oldest daughter doesn't live there anymore because she's 19 and, kind of spreading her wings. But I also have a 16-year-old son and a 10-year-old son. And they're
Wow.
coming down here in May to visit.
Awesome. For how long?
A couple weeks.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Have they been out of the country before?
Yeah. Yeah. Last year they came down to Mexico too.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So is Mexico now the home? Like, is that where you guys see yourself, being for a while?
For a while, we do still have our yurt cabin up in Minnesota, so we go back and forth. But yeah, we need to create a foundation. I'm feeling that.
Yeah, and I like the 68 degrees every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
When I was living there 25 years ago, I got a 3-month tourist visa, and then I was able to extend it for 6 months. And then after that, I had to leave the country every 3 months. And I was living in Cancun, so I just went to Belize or to the no zone. You just left, and I just came back the same day, and they just gave me another 3 months, and I just kept on doing that. Is that something that you guys have to do, or are you guys looking for like a permanent, like a long-term visa? Or
What we have been doing is doing the every 6 months a border run. This last time we somehow lucked out and didn't even have to cross the border.
you were in the no zone, like?
Is that what it's called?
So
Okay.
yeah, so it's the free zone. It's called the free zone. It's like the duty-free zone. So there's an
Oh,
area
yeah.
between Mexico and Belize, and so you can just leave outside of Mexico, but you're not typically in Belize. You're in this free zone, and
Yeah.
then you just go there, and
Yep.
then you can go back into Mexico because you've actually left the country. You've gone into this free zone. There's
Oh.
it's no country, and it's a duty-free zone. I think that's what it's called. It's called a free zone, from what I
Okay.
remember from about 25 years ago.
Yeah, I was wondering how it worked. Then that makes sense. We must have been in that free zone.
Yeah.
Because it was like only maybe 10 miles from the Guatemalan border, because we're in Chiapas,
Okay.
so which is just north of Guatemala.
Yeah, it must have happened. Amy says, whatever happened to the Syncretism Society?
So we are taking a break. It was getting to be a little much, and then we were getting attacked, as you probably know. So we kind of just decided to go under the radar for a while. The website's still going. As far as I know, I think there's still lessons being posted. Honestly, I haven't looked lately. But yeah, we just needed to go under the radar for a little while to get away from the trolls.
Awesome. So you were able to share everything about my chart. Is there anything else that you guys, maybe wanted to share with us today that you haven't got a chance to mention yet?
I think we got covered everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we can save it for another one.
Yeah.
You have an opening, or people want us back, or whatever.
Yeah, we can maybe bring it back, and we'll give you my girlfriend's stuff, and you could maybe do a combined thing and just show people what that is like with the couples, because when people hear it and see it, they're like, oh yeah, I want to get a reading, because of how fascinating. So maybe we could do that for the next time.
That'd be cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, people would like that.
Yeah.
Good demonstration.
Yeah. And I don't know if this platform has the ability to share screen, but we could maybe do something like that too.
Yeah, of course. In the bottom where it says present.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it used to say share screen, and then now they changed to present, which it's weird because it doesn't have anything to do present with share screen, but that's what they call it now. But yeah, you could totally share your own screen and bring charts up and show people a little bit about what it is, and then just so they get a little bit more of an or comprehension of about what you guys do.
Yep. Ooh. Yeah, we'll definitely do that next time. We like to have that, like, not really hands-on, but eyes-on, I guess.
Visual. Some people are visual learners.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. It was so wonderful meeting you both. This was great. I really enjoyed this 2 hours. We're at 2 hours already, so kind of flies by, but you guys both have beautiful energy, so appreciate you coming here on the Missing Link and to share any missing links about yourself, and the world that that you were able to share. So a lot of people, very informative. Like, I got lots of positive comments here that you'll have to go through afterwards and maybe respond to to some people and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thank you.
It's good.
You're very welcome, and may the source be with you through your guys' journey. We have another missing link tomorrow. We've got Kim Lakefort. He's, I believe, out of Denmark. He used to be a mafia boss, drug dealer, I don't know, some kind of gangster kind of guy, and now he's firmly enrooted in the Bible and prophecies and the way things are unfolding. So that's going to be a fascinating conversation tomorrow. So that's early. So that's at noon Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So it'll be 10 a.m. for you guys. So that's tomorrow on The Missing Link. Thanks everybody for all your likes, comments, hearts, shares, and stars. The Missing Link is what it is because of all of you. I'm Jesse Howell, your host, and may the source be with you all. So thanks again, Nicholas and Crystal. This was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you tomorrow back on The Missing Link. Love y'all. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.